It has been over 2.5 years since Vladimir Putin launched his war in Ukraine, a conflict that was supposed to showcase Russia's strength and reestablish its dominance on the world stage. Instead, it has become a slow and costly failure that is eroding not only Putin's grip on power, but also the very foundations of the Russian Federation. Day by day, Putin's decisions are accelerating the breakdown of a nation that he once sought to restore to its former glory. The signs of collapse are becoming more evident, and as Russia struggles under the weight of its economic, infrastructural, and demographic crises, the future looks increasingly bleak. At first glance, Russia's economy might seem surprisingly robust. In April 2024, the BBC reported that the International Monetary Fund, IMF, projected Russia's economy to grow by 3.2% by the end of the year, with oil exports holding steady and government spending boosting growth. In comparison, European nations like the United Kingdom were expected to see much slower growth, with the UK only achieving 0.5% by year end. On the surface, it appeared that Russia was defying expectations and weathering the storm of sanctions and war. However, these optimistic figures hide the reality of an economy that has been fundamentally reshaped to sustain a prolonged conflict rather than the needs of its people. Swedish economist Anders Åslund, writing for Project Syndicate, outlines the cracks beneath the surface. Western sanctions have taken a heavy toll on Russia's gross domestic product, GDP, reducing it by 2% to 3% annually. Russia's GDP has fallen from $2.3 trillion in 2013 to $1.9 trillion today, a decline that began with the annexation of Crimea. Meanwhile, inflation is running rampant, with real rates estimated at 9.1%, and interest rates have soared to an astonishing 19%, making borrowing nearly impossible for ordinary Russians. Even more troubling is the state of Russia's national reserve, which has plummeted from $183 billion in 2021 to just $55 billion today. The war effort alone is consuming 10% of Russia's GDP annually, leaving little for anything else. The human cost of this economic shift is becoming more visible. Russia's infrastructure, much of which dates back to the Soviet era, is crumbling. In February 2024, NBC News reported on widespread heating failures during Siberia's brutal winter. In the city of Novosibirsk, residents like 51-year-old Elena Grezkaya-Silko faced freezing temperatures as low as -4 degrees Fahrenheit in homes that could no longer be adequately heated. Burst pipes, outdated systems, and a lack of maintenance left thousands shivering in their apartments. This problem isn't confined to remote areas. Even Moscow experienced 31 major heating failures during the winter, highlighting that Russia's richest city is also struggling under the weight of neglected infrastructure. Economist Igor Lipsitz explains that much of Russia's infrastructure was built in the 1970s and 1980s and has not been updated since. The government has largely ignored these problems, funneling resources into the war instead of addressing critical domestic issues. The Jamestown Foundation reported that there were over 7,000 heating-related incidents in 2023 alone, causing immense suffering and growing public dissatisfaction. This lack of investment in infrastructure is symptomatic of a deeper crisis. Russia is bleeding money into a war that it cannot afford, leaving nothing for the basic needs of its citizens. While Russia's economic and infrastructural issues are severe, its demographic crisis may be the most significant challenge of all. The war in Ukraine has claimed over 720,000 Russian soldiers as casualties, and nearly 1 million professionals fled the country in the war's early days to avoid conscription. These losses have left Russia with a labor shortage that is further compounded by plummeting birth rates. In the first half of 2024, Russia recorded its lowest birth rate in 25 years, just 1.4 births per woman. Kremlin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov has called the situation catastrophic, but the government's policies are doing little to address it. Adding to the strain is the fact that Russia's population is becoming increasingly diverse, with non-Russian ethnic groups growing at a faster rate than ethnic Russians. While this shift reflects the natural demographic trends of rural and urban areas, it also poses a challenge to Putin's vision of a unified Russian identity. The Kremlin's response has been to limit immigration, cutting residence permits for foreigners in half between 2023 and 2024. This decision has only worsened labor shortages, further undermining the country's ability to sustain itself. Facing these challenges, Russia has turned to one of the world's most isolated nations for help, North Korea. In 2024, Putin signed a cooperative defense pact with Kim Jong-un, promising mutual support in case of attacks on their territories. North Korea has since sent thousands of troops to support Russia's counteroffensive in Kursk. However, this alliance highlights Russia's desperation. The use of outdated Soviet-era tanks like the 65-year-old T-55 models and the reliance on North Korean soldiers underscore the extent of Russia's manpower and equipment shortages. The partnership with North Korea also poses long-term risks. To secure Kim Jong-un's support, Russia may be sharing sensitive military technology and weapons with Pyongyang. This could embolden North Korea, making it an even greater threat to the West, while further isolating Russia on the global stage. The reliance on such an unstable ally reflects Russia's weakening position and its inability to sustain the war on its own. Domestically, the cracks in Russia's political system are widening. Putin's government is plagued by corruption and inefficiency, with defense spending often diverted into the pockets of Kremlin officials. In 2024, Putin dismissed Defense Minister Sergei Shoigu amid allegations of corruption, replacing him with Andrei Belousov. While this move was framed as an effort to modernize Russia's military, it was largely an attempt to control the fallout from years of mismanagement. Shoigu, like many others in Putin's inner circle, continues to wield influence despite his dismissal, reflecting the deep-seated corruption that permeates the Russian government.
Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I am back with another new video. In this video, I am geopolitician and writer Zeihan has discussed about current condition of Russia. In this video, he has discussed about how Putin's war has bleeding Russia dry. So this video is basically related on Russia's economy. So if you would like to watch video like this, then you can subscribe my channel and watch them every video, and you are on the right place and right center. Without delay, please watch video until the end and make your opinion about Peter Zeihan's analysis. Is it correct or not? If you think video is useful for you, then you can press like button and motivate me for future videos. So let's watch and until the end. Now I am going to end this video from here because this is so enough long for me. I'll be back with another one next time. Bye for now.